I'm Gail Keys Allen. I am a new YouTuber, even though I did post a couple of old videos a while ago. This is my attempt to get started with my own YouTube channel. So I'm just showing up, y'all, perfectly imperfect. And I'm calling this podcast channel, whatever, Impossible to Unstoppable. And what does that mean? It means that most people live lives of quiet desperation because they tell themselves that what they want for their lives is impossible. But it's only impossible because you're telling yourself it's impossible. So, who am I and why do I think I can tell you how to go from impossible to unstoppable? So, I am a 68-year young woman from a small town in New Jersey. I live in the DMV area now, which is called the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And I'm a life coach. I quit my job 3 years ago at 65 without a fully funded retirement plan, without a big bank account to go into business for myself full time because after working at a law firm in DC for 16 years, the managing partner told me that I'm highly compensated enough and they are not going to pay me any more money. So even though I was doing a good job, they were not going to give me any more raises or bonuses, which those of you that are familiar with law firms, you know that they give pretty good bonuses. And I'd always gotten a great bonus and raise. And all of a sudden, he just said, the partners and I have decided that we're not willing to pay you any more money. When he told me that, and that was in December of 2019, when he told me that, I just said to him, well, I probably won't keep working somewhere where I'll never make more money. And I was really proud of myself for telling him that because the old me used to not be that outspoken. But I left his office and I went back to my office and sat down at my desk. And it was like God was saying to me, they do not get to dictate how much money you make. And from that moment on, I decided that I was going to quit my job and do something else with my life, but I didn't know what that something else was. So that was in December of 2019. In January, I heard about this course called Made to Do This, which was a course, a 3-month program to help you figure out what you're meant to do in the world. And so I was like, there's my answer. I'm taking this course. And it wasn't cheap. It was like $3,000 for 3 months. But I was determined. So I get in the class, and it's a group coaching program. And I always am going to do the work. So I never was a totally A student, but I always did my best. And so I get in there, and whatever the person running the program, whenever they gave us homework, suggestions, to post in the Facebook group, whatever, I did it. And as a result, I got a hot seat with her. And in the hot seat, which was a Zoom call, and keep in mind this was going on during COVID, it was March of 2020. And I got in the hot seat with her, and she was coaching me on figuring out, like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And she just said to me, it seems like you've been through a lot in your life. And all of a sudden, I had what I call diarrhea of the mouth. I just said to her, oh my God, my mother died, my father died, my brother died of terminal brain cancer. I'm divorced. My ex-husband was cheating on me. He had another woman who lived in our rental property, and blah, da, 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 da. My job did this, and this did that, did it. And I had a brain tumor before, which all of this is true. In 1 year, I had a brain tumor, back surgery, and my thyroid removed because they thought I had thyroid cancer, but it ended up not being cancer. And the next year after that, I found out my ex-husband was cheating. I left him, started my life over at 50, all the things. So I'm telling her all this, and then all of a sudden, it was just like a aha lightning bolt moment, and I grabbed my head and I said, "Oh my God, it all makes sense." Like everything that I have been through in my life, just it was just like the culmination of everything. It made sense. And I finished out that program um, going all in. And everybody in there, there was like 300 people in that course. People witnessed it and they were so amazed to see my transformation right in front of their eyes. As a result of being in there, and while I was in there, I decided to get certified as a life coach with the Life Coach School. I had been telling myself, and I just finished doing a training a few minutes ago, and I told them the sentence in my head that I used to repeat all the time is, I can't justify that. I can't justify spending that money. I can't justify, taking those days off from work. I can't justify buying those new clothes that are brighter colors and don't really coordinate with other things when I can just wear black, gray, white with a little bit of color. I can't justify that. I can't justify like all the things that I wanted to do, all of my desires. I kept saying, I can't justify that. And that meant that I was leading a quiet life of desperation. I say it's like the movie Groundhog Day, like living the same day over and over and over, commuting into DC for an hour to 90 minutes each way, sitting at that damn desk with the same people who I didn't like and they didn't like me. And um, it just was a quiet life of desperation. And I was telling myself that I couldn't justify leaving there, that where else am I going? Like I would look for other jobs, and all the other jobs would require you to jump through a million hoops. And I was already making six figures. And these jobs were like managing account because I was an accountant. They were like managers of a department. They wanted you to have a CPA and an MBA and all these things. And then they wanted to pay you 60, $70,000. And I was like, hell no, I might as well stay where I am. So I get certified as a life coach and I start coaching people. And a lot of the people I coached were from that program made to do this. Well, unbeknownst to me, the program ends, but the woman that was running the program paid attention to my journey and that next January asked me to be on her podcast. I'm not even sure what the name of it is now. She's changed the name a couple of times, but if you Google or you look up how my student Gail Keys Allen made 50K in 10 days and learned to love herself, you will find that video, and I will post the link below this video so you can take a look at it because I go into a little more detail with my story. But literally, I had made in January of 2022, yeah, I'm trying to get my years straight. I left my job the end of, so I left that part out. There's so many pieces to the story. I'm going to give you a high overview, and then over the course of this podcast, I will continue to unlock things and come have people interview people about making quantum leaps in their life and big transformations because life does not have to chug, 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 slowly, slowly, slowly. I changed my life more in the past 4 years than I did in 20 years, literally. So I quit my job in May of 2021. And in January of 2022 was when she interviewed me. She interviewed me on Zoom. Her name is Kathy Heller, but she interviewed me on Zoom um, to talk about my business and how I had grown from the program and how it had helped me. And she was launching her program again. And so I was like an example, like a example case study for the results that she helps her students get. So I'm talking to her and I just said, "Oh, you know what? In the past 10 days, I've made $50,000." And she was like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, I've made $50,000 in 10 days," which I had. Um, and she said, "What's today's date? Isn't today the January 31st?" And I was like, "I guess." Well, the next day, I wake up to a friend's text and she said, "You're on Kathy's podcast." And it's a pretty well-known podcast. And I was like, "What?" Because she didn't just interview me, she interviewed some other people too. But they edited the other people out, and the podcast was all about me and my transformation. And since January of 2022, really January of 2020, my life is unrecognizable and I'm here for it. So here I sit at 68 years young, excited about the next 10, 15, 20 years, whatever. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do this work, but right now, I help women transform their lives. I help women launch businesses. I help women quit their job and go into business full time. And we start with the foundation of changing your mindset because I learned that you can try all the strategies in the world, but if you're still living your life according to your limiting beliefs, nothing really is going to change. And so this is just kind of like an intro to what I'm going to be talking about on the podcast. And I do like to use my hands, so you'll see that. So I live here in Maryland. My daughter lives with me. She's 35. My grandson lives with me. He's 4 years old. Um, there's so many layers, but what I'm mainly here for is to show you that anything is possible, that it's never too late, that no matter what age you are, you can reinvent your life and live a new life. And I'm asking you to follow, like, all the things, subscribe. That's what it is. Subscribe to this channel. Keep coming back. I'm going to keep posting videos. And um, yeah, and in the meantime, sign up for my list. All the stuff will be below this video. And I can't wait to hear your comments below. What do you think? What do you want me to talk about? I believe that I have so much wisdom, and so do you. And I'm here to help make other people's lives better, easier, more fun, because I've been through hell and back and have survived. And I'm an example of what's possible. And let's just hang out and do some crazy stuff and create the impossible. That's what life is about. Let's do the impossible together. So see you in the next episode. Later.